Well, something sure gets fisted. This is Fist of the Vampire on Stinger Madness.
What's that smell?
I don't know about you, but I'm thirsty as fuck. Thirsty as fuck.
Hey, look at these!
Thrill me.
If you come back in here, I'm gonna hit you with so many rights, you're gonna beg for a left.
Thrill me.
Beg for a left.
Thrill me.
Hey, look at these!
No more hangers!
It stinks.
Hangers!
Get to the chopper! Stinger Madness.
Hello and welcome to Stinger Madness, the podcast about bad movies by bad movie lovers for bad movie lovers. I'm your host, Justin. With me, as always, are Jackie and Sam. Good day to you guys.
Good day, sir.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What time zone are you in?
The world of Jackie.
Okay.
Uh,
Is that also like it's 5 o'clock somewhere, so you can just start drinking at any point in time?
No, that's called alcoholism.
Oh, I thought you had that.
Yeah, and I'm very proud of that. Don't be taking me away with that damn Jimmy Buffett song.
Hey, what?
Jimmy Buffett.
Jimmy Buffett.
All right.
Isn't that who sang that song?
No.
What song?
5 o'clock somewhere.
Oh,
That's a country dude. I don't know.
I thought it was a saying.
Alan
Oh.
Jackson.
Maybe.
I don't know. Anyway,
I think we should put a disclaimer on this episode because our house is filled with volatile organic compounds.
better known as polyurethane flooring.
Yes,
Sure.
We've plastered our new floor with polyurethane and didn't ventilize the house properly, and we're all dying.
I came over here and they've been nose deaf to it, and I was like, "You guys need to open the window." And they're looking at me like, "Who's that fluffy pink dragon? Why is it talking to me?"
Yeah, I was having a real good time when you first showed up, and you're like, "It's me, Sam," and I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah, and there is no leprechaun guesting, even though I can clearly see one sitting across from
Little
me.
bastard, stop giving me the dirty eye.
Yeah.
He's like, "I want me on microphone."
Yeah.
All right, let's get into this because this is a special episode. This is our first listener pick from Jack B., our proud Patreon donor, who met the required levelments of to get to pick 2 of his own episodes this year. So this is the first time we've ever done it. Fist of the Vampire from 2007.
Fist of the Vampire.
It should have been called Fake Boobs McGee's.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Boobs of the Vampire.
Yeah,
There's only one set of fake boobs, to be honest.
Yeah, well, all right, we'll see. Sam, what can you tell us about Fist of the Vampire?
It's a Pennsylvania zero-budget film, basically. I'm sure they spent some money.
So is
on
that
it, but-
like a spaghetti western or?
No, it's a movie that they've made locally with next to nothing.
Oh,
in,
so they
somewhere
made
in Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania.
No, the director is Len Kabinski, and he is from Pennsylvania. He's actually the karate champion of weapon forms, I believe, in Pennsylvania, twice running, something like that. He wrote about himself in IMDb.
Yes.
And he was not over flattering, which is sort of nice, but
Yeah.
it seems like he's gotten some karate forms, weapons championships of some sort here and there.
Locally.
You watch a statewide
Well,
state champion.
That's pretty localized.
Pennsylvania is a bigger state than we're in.
Right, sure, but it's not like you're fucking Chuck Norris or Jean-Claude Van Damme or something.
Or Cynthia Rothrock would be the better comparison.
Yeah, right.
Uh,
Didn't make nationals. Didn't
maybe,
make
I don't
World.
know. Who's to say?
Didn't make that underground fight in Bloodsport where you do
Did.
the
He made
splits.
that.
Oh,
He
he
was
did?
there,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. He got
He
his
would show up and
throat
just beat
ripped out.
people up for no reason, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Because he's also the co-star of the film.
Right.
Oh, which one was he?
He was the blonde vampire dude.
Reno.
Oh.
Which is a fairly decent name for a vampire. I kind of like that name, Reno. Like that. Reno's a good name. You should use that more in film.
I liked his hair.
Okay.
He had real nice hair.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's very per plus.
I would say more VO5.
Oh.
It's definitely had some oil treatments.
Vidal Sassoon.
But it does answer the question why he did that fucking weird green screen over the shoulder shot with himself.
Mhm.
because he couldn't run the camera and be in front of the camera at the same time.
Yeah, right.
Even though you can. You
Yeah.
can.
Right.
Especially with the ones he was using here.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later.
Yeah, I think so.
Other than that, we've got the other notables to mention would be WWE and mostly ECW's wrestler, the Blue Meanie.
The Blue Meanie?
Who's that?
The fat guy with the cane.
His name is the Blue Meanie.
Yeah, from the reference to the Yellow Submarine film, I believe. The Blue Meanies.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Huh. Okay, so is he like tough in the fake wrestling? Because Blue Meanie is not a tough name.
No, he's a comic heel.
Okay.
But at the same time, you want to make fun of a guy, it's hard to if he made it to the WWE, so can't do any better other than becoming a star in the WWE, which he did not do.
Right.
And then we've got Darian Kane, the booby lady vampire, who was probably, she did a lot of erotic films. Not porno, but erotic.
Are you sure? Like, what's the diff? I mean,
no
I know what the
penetration.
difference is.
I
but-
can't find any instances of her doing hardcore penetration.
Okay,
films.
all right. So she's straight Cinemax.
Yeah, but also
Maybe
at the same
some
time,
Winerski work here and there.
well, she went a little harder than that because her credits included appearances in Hustler's Taboo line, which is generally means that she got into the water sports.
Taboo.
What do you mean water sports? What
What
does
do
that
you-
mean?
Like Marco Polo.
Say you took a trip to Russia one time and you paid some hookers to piss on you, and then like some British guy
you don't
found
have-
out about it, and then you're like, no, I never got peed on one time.
You don't have to go to Russia. You just peed on right in your own home.
I was making
Sure.
an allegory.
Yeah.
Are you familiar
So
with that literary term?
She's R. Kelly.
Oh no,
Well, she would technically be what's her nuts?
that's like
in that
that's
equation.
like
Michelle Williams.
calling
Not Michelle
any
Williams.
journeyman basketball player Michael Jordan,
Zendaya.
because R. Kelly's the Michael Jordan of pissing on people.
Okay.
He pissed on his own lawyer's daughter
Rihanna.
so that she quit in the middle of a trial about him pissing on someone.
Ashley Jurgensen. What the fuck was her name?
Who?
That got peed on.
I don't know.
It was
Aaliyah.
Yeah, Aaliyah. That's right.
One of many.
She is a P receiver,
Yeah.
just like all of Tom Brady's tight ends. No,
Did he get peed on?
I don't know. They seem like the type.
Rob Gronkowski's like, better get a ladder. I'm pretty tall. And then she's like, just lay down, you fucking retard. Oh, you're getting it in my mouth. Close your mouth, stupid. Rob Gronkowski, not good at water sports.
Okay. So she got peed on here and there.
I probably did some peeing. I
Or
don't know.
it did some peeing.
It's been one of these things because I had a roommate that would always come back with Hustlers, and he's like, "Yeah, these are pretty hot. They're gonna start peeing each other at the end." And like for months, like the same Hustler, it was like a formula. Like the magazine just went to this. It was like, on this page this happens. On this page this happens. Page 5 and 6, they're just gonna start pissing all over each other. And you're like, what is going on here? Am I the only one? Because it would seem like I'm the only one that doesn't like it if every issue of the magazine is like
Something for everyone, except for you.
that. I guess. But it was like, they'd like, and then it'd be out in the middle of the desert and like on a classic Chevelle pissing on each other. Like, what the fuck is this?
Anybody else?
Of note, no.
Okay.
Well, the guy is nobody. The main guy,
mhm.
Muscles,
Mhm.
he's nobody.
Okay.
He's probably one of Len Kabinski's students that did well.
Yeah.
I also will make the accusation right now that this is one of those movies made by a guy who sells drugs with the people that he sells drugs to in the movie.
Yes. I think that is quite clear. In very many locations of their own houses.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've made this accusation about Scott Shaw, the Donald G. Jackson disciple that carried on the rollerblade.
Mhm.
He's sort of the bar for this sort of filmmaking. When I accuse Scott Shaw of being a drug dealer who brings his customers into his filmmaking, I'm saying kudos to you, Scott Shaw, drug dealer. I'm not calling you Scott Shaw filmmaker. He does Zen filmmaking. But it's sort of the bar that you elevate yourself to if you're going to do this sort of thing. This does not reach that bar.
Well, you're kind of double dipping because A, you're probably selling drugs.
Yes.
And B, you're probably not paying anybody other than like discounted drugs to be in your film.
Yeah. Well, they're just your friends that think you're cool anyway because they buy drugs from you.
So that he's not even paying them in discounted drugs?
No, not
he's
really.
He's just selling drugs and getting free labor?
Mostly.
That's boss.
Yeah. Well, now.
And illegal.
At the same time, though, I bet that old Scotty boy has gone legit with California's new legislation. He's probably got over-the-counter drugs that he sells and then makes his movies that way.
Oh, so they're just all loaded up on Vicodin?
Yeah.
Smells like
no,
cookies in
weed
here.
is legal in California now.
It smells like cookies.
It smells like fucking turpentine
It
in
smells
here.
like turpentine.
And I don't like this way that this fucking leprechaun is eyeballing you right now. I'm just going to tell you.
It smells like chocolate chip cookies in here.
It doesn't. It's like a fucking turpentine sauna.
It's really...
No, it's great. It smells so delicious in here.
It's interesting that you and I, in our mind, I don't know what's happening in reality, are having a conversation about drugs, and she's over there on fucking Mars.
She's like, drugs? Fuck that. Just get some polyurethane.
Let me stick my face in this bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, we have to get into this, guys.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to start off by saying they did a really nice job with the vampire fangs. They look pretty good.
They didn't look bad.
They don't look bad, but they're the kind that fuck up the way you talk.
At the same time, when I say they don't look bad, I think there's about 4 times in this movie for under 30 seconds that I can actually see what's going on.
Yeah.
Proceed, Captain.
The film starts out in 1977, and we know that because of the grainy film stock. That's what film looked like in 1977.
Oh, God.
I'm guessing that they're trying to portray, what the fuck is this shit right here?
Oh, it's that goddamn... It came out in like the first version of After Effects in the early 2000s. By version 5, it was sort of doable, and everybody was using it, and it was the film grain effect. And if you watch...
It's worse than film grain effect, because film grain effect, like, implies that the film is like, oh, this is from the 40s, you know? It's like black and white and grainy. This is, like,
Noise.
worse than...
Yeah.
Birth of a Nation.
No,
this is the driver's ed video they showed you from a film reel projector, and you're like, oh,
No,
yeah.
What
It
it
had
was.
lines, and I kind of thought that was the way the movie was going to be the whole time.
We wouldn't have made it.
I thought,
It was-
wow, this guy really spent no money on a decent, like, camera and a set of film. Like, man,
shot in
he
video.
should have used his cell phone.
Cell phones are better than the camera. Cell phones now are better than the camera he had to use then, which wasn't really his fault at that point.
No. This is
But
2007.
that film grain effect, the problem is that everybody did the same fucking thing. It had like a baseline that it came with, and everybody's like, well, it sort of looks like that. But I think everyone's retarded, so we have to turn it to 11.
We got to bring it to 11, yeah.
And it wasn't just you turn it up to its maximum grain and its maximum noise and the maximum line. Then you decided, oh shit, that's still not enough. So you layered it on top of each other like 4 fucking times.
Yeah.
And what you have left is just noise. You
Yep.
can't actually see through it anymore.
And there's so much noise in it that they then added rain effects to the soundtrack, even though the character is walking through Washington, D.C., and his hair's not getting wet. Because they overlaid the freaking effects so much that they're like, oh, that looks like it's raining. So
I
we
thought
got
that
to
was
add
his
rain
feet.
effect. No,
Clicking
the
on the
constant.
pavement.
No, honey, that is not what rain sounds like. Feet walking. Anyways, he hears a scream. And he goes into this alley, and sure enough, he finds a vampire woman eating the throat out of another lady that's on the ground. And the strange thing about these vampires is they're not just the blood-sucking kind of vampire. They're the tear your throat out and eat your flesh type of vampires, which I didn't even know was a thing.
Actually, only one of them does that. The other two never actually be vampires at any point in the whole fucking movie.
Yeah, and only she is a bloodsucker and flesh eater.
Yeah.
Huh.
No, he ate somebody.
Who?
Ponytail.
Oh, yeah, he did eat the
the
stripper
hooker
lady.
eventually. Okay, so fine. He's like, holy shit, you guys are vampires. I got to get out of here. Bye-bye. and runs to this bus, which is like they're chasing after him, doing all these dumb like post-production effects, like jumping off of roofs and landing on the ground, being all stupid and vampire-y dumbly. And he casually strolls to a Greyhound and is like, is this the 301 that goes down to Myrtle Street? No, this is the 205 that'll take you up to 45th. Oh, that'll work.
He's but I can hit the blue line at 15th, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get away here.
Right?
And he tells the bus driver, "I'm in a hurry." Like the bus driver's
Step
gonna
on it.
fucking take off. All right, sir, warp speed.
And like a bus is the worst getaway vehicle you could possibly choose, not just because of its initial burst speeds, but because they stop.
Constantly, especially like the only reason you ride the bus in heavy traffic hours like is just because you're tired of walking, because if you walk you can get there just as fast.
You can get there just as fast. A bus is not a good getaway vehicle, and like, which is fine if like you had a shot of like the bus pulling away slowly, even fine, whatever, we'll allow it. And the vampires are like, oh, well, shit. Well, it doesn't really matter anyways. He was just some schmo.
Sure.
We're vampires. What's he going to do to us? Let's go down to the sewer where we live, or possibly in like an elaborate castle and go blah, blah, blah. And we're fine. We're vampires.
Why
I
not?
kind of thought they were going to attack the bus
Or
and kill everyone on the bus.
well, you can certainly do that.
They can't do that. They don't have Metro cards.
Ah,
You foiled again. I'm too cheap.
All right, so he gets home, which is weird because the bus is not in the shot, because buses don't actually go out to the suburbs.
No, they don't.
So I am to infer that he got off at some point and then had to walk to get to his home.
Which I'm surprised we didn't get to see, like him hitchhiking with some hillbilly talking, because the rest of the movie will show every mundane occurrence between point A and point B. But for some reason, this guy just is all of a sudden at home.
Right, which implies to me that they could have, like, he's a soft target at that point. He's not even surrounded by a bus you could just jump on him right then. Eat him on the street.
Why
whatever.
not?
Anyway, so he gets home and he calls the police. He's like, hey, man, I saw a lady get attacked downtown. Got to get people out here. I'm scared of shit. And he grabs a gun and his wife comes out and she's like, what's going on? He's like, I'll tell you about it later, but I saw a lady get her face ripped off and now people are potentially attacking me. Oh, okay. So what else do you have to tell me? Nothing. I guess that pretty much covers it. So the whole family's there. He's got 3 daughters, I don't know, and a little boy. And they're like, mommy, daddy, blah, we'll go hide. And then the vampires show up. They just are inside the house.
Sure.
Like they turn around. Vampires. And they get vampired.
Yeah, one of the vampires gets exploded by question mark. The vampire lady grabs mom's boob for a while. She's like,
Yeah.
hey, boob.
And then
What's
she
up?
just like fucks off.
Yeah.
She's like, I've got a knife to you. And she's like, close your eyes. Okay, when you open them, I'm not going to be here because I'm fucking with you, I guess, because that's what vampire. I don't know. But before that, mom hides the little boy in the sink, under the sink.
in the sink.
In
It was
the
not
sink.
her better hiding spot.
Yeah.
And she stacked dirty dishes on him and was like,
Where's he at?
pretend like you're a dead piece of meat.
I'm about to be a dead piece of meat, Mom, if you don't hide me better.
Put your hand down the garbage disposal so you'll fit.
And it takes a while. Dad gets his ass kicked for quite some time. There's 4 vampires beating Dad up, and he's hanging in there. Dad's kind of tough. Good job, Dad.
Yeah, he takes a beating. That's
Right,
what he does.
but it's a long
Sure,
beating.
it is. He really takes. At the beginning of the fight, he points the gun at them
Right.
a lot without like ever trying to shoot them.
And they just keep knocking it away, and then he pulls
Yeah.
it back up.
He like gets back to the gun. And he's like, "All right, I'm pointing this gun at you again. Serious this time." And then they knock it out of his hand. Like, maybe think about pulling that trigger just once.
He gets dead eventually, the neck breaker. Mom gets her throat cut. The girls, they just get
They
vampire.
are dead off screen because you can't do that on screen.
And one of them has been stabbed, as you said, by Mom with a kitchen knife, causing him to burst into flames.
Yeah, I guess you got him in the heart, but still, it's soft.
I didn't think that mattered with vampires.
I don't know.
I thought it had to be a wooden stake or silver.
These ones don't fly or anything either, so.
Huh. loosey goosey with the rules for just winging it on your vampire movie.
Yeah.
Okay. He catches the house on fire because he's on fire, and then the fire department arrives too late. The house burns down.
That's not a fire department. That's stock shop.
Yeah. I guess little Billy under the stove or under the sink burned up in the fire. Or did he?
I forgot about Billy at this point.
Yeah, right.
I want to know who that like teenage girl was that they handed a smoke.
Right. There's like this is where the credits start and like this shit god awful late 2000s heavy metal music comes on.
NU metal.
Yeah. And it's the fire department like in these concerned citizens montage, but they keep going to this one lady who
Yeah,
seems
she-
to be like a teenage girl.
Yeah, that peeks under the blanket, has a breakdown. They've got a blanket on her like she was in the house.
Right.
And then a cop walks up and hands her a fucking cigarette. That was like the best shot ever. And she starts smoking it. Like, where did this cigarette come from? You don't give teenagers cigarettes.
In 1977, apparently you do.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, I thought she was supposed to be somebody in the movie, but she is not. Cut to the present day.
And it tells you present day.
Right. Well, and the film stock changes. Well, they get rid of that stupid After Effects.
It changes to a different filter that is hard to see through.
Right.
Now we go into shaky camera mode.
Overexposed.
Underexposed. Green filter.
Ugh.
Red filter.
A lot of it's
Shit.
actually just really not white balanced, and then they tried to get it back and it didn't work. But
I think they did it on purpose.
oh no, some of it is just not like they did it on purpose, but the footage they had to start with was at the wrong exposure and not white balanced, so it even works worse when they apply the
Right.
filters.
Yeah. Anyways, there's this cop chasing somebody, and I write down maybe because we can't really even fucking tell what's going on. It looks like shit so bad.
It's got post-production shake added to it
Yes.
for more excitement.
Ugh. And they end up in a blockbuster with a gunfight and start shooting at each other from behind racks of DVDs that the bullets are ricocheting off of.
The racks and the DVDs are bulletproof.
Pew, pew.
Everything is bulletproof.
Pew, pew.
And I think it's an adult video store, actually.
No, I saw a poster for Finding Nemo inside.
Oh, how about that? Well, it depends on where they found Nemo. Huh?
Uh-oh.
Oh.
So he eventually kicks her ass poorly, and she then like
Runs away more.
More into a house. I guess that it's like her hangout house where there's just a bunch of dudes sitting around with guns.
This is the tip-off that somebody involved in the filmmaking at some level sells weed.
Uh-huh.
Because the only reason that this room full of people would know each other is because of weed.
Yeah, they've come to get the weed.
It's the most diverse crowd you've seen in a while. And you're like, oh, hey. Especially when they throw this like 60-year-old dude who's like fat and bald a shotgun, like he's part of the crew. I'm like, who the fuck is that guy?
And then he shows up, and we're introduced to arguably the worst action sequence in film history.
It's as bad as I've seen.
I can't think of one worse.
It's real bad.
I think that, unfortunately, I think for me, the film peaks right here.
Oh, yeah. So a problem I have with it and calling it in film history is that I used to have to teach a summer camp with mostly 13-year-old dudes.
Mm-hmm.
There was some chicks that were in the class, but it was mostly 13-year-old dudes. And I've seen this fight scene probably 65 times now, and sometimes they did worse. Most of the time they did better, but I have seen worse than this because of there's a lot of this that is like that sort of our primal desires. His primal desires made it onto screen, and that's one of the things that you learn in film school is like, no, you can't do that. No one cares about your primal desires. You're a fucking asshole. Shit needs to be interesting. And when you hand a 13-year-old kid a camera, every fucking movie is a karate movie, and they all suck.
Right. This is insane. like so bad. I can't even describe it, but there's one particular standout sequence where the woman who's being chased and the cop are fighting, and she is just repeating her kicks, alternating left and right into the same location, and he blocks each one in the same exact manner, and there's probably 25 kicks. It like hiya, 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 hiya. Maybe try something else, because this clearly isn't working.
And they both, in the scene, they had to arrange themselves perfectly in the kitchen to have enough room to actually do it.
Oh, we haven't even mentioned this house.
Oh, the house.
It is a dump.
Yeah.
This is a shithole. And it's not like shit, like staged shithole. They showed up to Jim's house to shoot, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I meant to clean up." Dude, we're shooting here today. Yeah, sorry, man. Oh man. Can we go anyways?
Yeah. Well, we're here. Everybody's here. We have to shoot, right?
There's like piled up laundry. There's books scattered all over the place.
There
like
is-
old dishes, bags of groceries that have just been tossed on the floor.
There isn't one surface that isn't completely covered by
Right.
something in every shot.
It's like the beginning of Hoarders.
Yes, it looks like a hoarder's house.
Yeah.
This is
And
not
they
a
have
film
to,
location.
They have to like shove shit out of the way to have enough room to have a
Walk
karate
back. Yeah,
fight.
right.
that wishes it was a karate fight between Fritz Matthews and Ted Pryor, but is not.
Right.
Now I'm going to say if I had to choose anybody in this in this sequence
Mhm.
whose house this probably was, I'm going with the chubby person. I couldn't tell if it was a male or female with the red colored hair and the sunglasses.
The
that comes-
Matrix person?
Yeah, with the
Matrix
two
person.
with the two guns, and
Yeah.
then was like, well, I guess I'm out of bullets, so I'll just put these down, and you can't shoot me. And then he blows their fucking head off anyway.
It's bonkers because he's dodging bullets. These guys are missing with shotguns at
Yeah.
3 feet away when the gun is lined up, because it's all the explosions from the gun. The what's that called? The rapport.
Report?
Yeah, is post production.
Yeah.
So you can point a gun at a guy and it goes off in film, but you don't actually point a gun at a
Sure.
guy. And they don't shoot him because he's ducking bullets and shotguns in hallways.
Amazing. And you never really find out what any of the deal is here, but like this gal that he's chasing, who he can't just get a shot on, her crew are stormtroopers.
Yes.
They can't hit anything and they get shot.
Yes.
And they get shot and their face explodes into like nachos. It doesn't look like blood or anything. It looks kind of like nachos.
Yeah. Man, the post-production effects has a reoccurring theme in this. I think they're supposed to be like sparks. Like the bullet has ricocheted off your brain and exploded into sparks, but they look like nachos.
Yeah, it's the spark effect with because we get to see like the brain out effect for a second later by itself, but they tried to layer them both on top of each other for this, and it just looks like nachos.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. Anyways, eventually he ends up shooting her in the face, which means he just ran down a lady and shot her in the face rather than arresting her.
Yeah. It's a good cop.
Do I ask questions now? Nope.
Yeah. So, where were you yesterday? Nachos.
So his captain comes in on this crime scene and is like, well, looks like you got it cleaned up. We're going to transfer you.
Yeah. It's not even like that. She walks in and says, God damn it, your transfer came in today.
I know you asked for it 6 months ago.
6 months ago. What? This is not the conversation for here. Then it cuts to a sort of medium wide shot of a guy who's supposed to be a crime scene investigator, and all he's done is used the police tape to block himself in next to the TV and the CDs.
Well,
It's like, no one come in here. I think they got some Parsons project, and I'm gonna lift it.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly what that guy's doing. He's like,
Ooh, Hustler Taboo. I know somebody
But
that was in that.
I know what page they're gonna start paying each other, so I just won't turn to that one.
All right, so cut to the future, I guess. Well, not the super future, but later. He's now a secret agent for the DEA.
I guess I swear to God, and I could be wrong, and I'm never going to find out because I'm never going to be able to force myself to go through the front half of this movie again. But I feel like they call him Police Lee at the beginning.
Police Lee. Hey, Police Lee.
Like, that's his name.
Right.
And now, like, he's moved back to some suburb and he's a DEA agent.
Right, but he's a secret DEA agent because he's not like, go get the drugs, bust
Yeah.
some dudes. Like, he gets handed secret codes and, like, a briefcase full of money and, like, here's your file on the next team you're going to take down. Like,
Yeah.
he's going after fucking Dominic Toretto or something.
Yeah.
And I love how it's not like a little thing of money or a really thin briefcase. It's one of those big, thick ones.
Yeah, it's a business briefcase filled with cash. Break into this underground
Fight
club
Club.
where they do all sorts of things. They got hookers and drugs and backgammon and ping pong.
You got the shuffleboard.
They're bad guys.
Bad guy.
Take them down. And he's like, but make sure when you go in there, you're gonna need to dress up for it. Put on a suit.
Yeah, so at this point, I'm thinking, okay, so this is going to be like, kind of like a James Bond villain type thing where,
Casino Royale.
yeah, where they've got the actually decent fighters, right, that are there. And, they're trying to make their way up the circuit. I built this whole thing up in my head.
I don't know
there's going to
why.
be, like a lady interest and everything. And,
There was.
yeah. But, she was going to be one of the guests.
And
She
he
was gonna-
like he walks up to the craps table, is like, hi, I'm Secret Agent Police Lee. And she's like, oh my God.
What
Like
ends up,
that? Is that what's going on in your mind?
Yeah.
Okay.
but instead what you get is the narrow amount of actual plot in the film borrows it from Street Fighter 2, the video game, and he's Ryu and she's Chun-Li.
Yeah, okay. Well, he shows up at this thing dressed in a suit, and this Casino Royale is just a high school party in a basement.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of teenagers there dressed like teenagers screaming and chanting at this fight club, and he's overdressed. Dressed so you can blend in. I don't think you accomplished your mission, buddy.
He said, look, I just need the corner of this warehouse to be full on Saturday night. And when he showed up, he's like, you got it full by giving these teenagers beer.
Right.
And his producer / friend / roommate, Steve, said, shoot around the beer.
And sell him weed afterwards.
We got to pay for this thing.
The wrestler vampire, that's the director. I don't know this character's name. He's there. The big guy, the Beardo.
Beardo is the Blue Meanie. The wrestler.
Yeah, what's his character's name in this film?
I don't know.
I don't know either. The main bad guy. We
The
have
main
no
bad
idea
guy.
what his name is.
Is he the main one? I thought he was the
I
considering-
can't
the
tell.
body. He was the muscle bodyguard type
Well,
guy.
He's the last to die. Spoiler alert.
And
Oh.
he is the only one that no one tells him his business.
Right.
He tells everybody else their business.
Yeah, I think he's the guy.
So he's the guy.
But we don't know his name. And he's the director. You think you'd
No,
wanna...
the director's the blonde-haired guy.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Blue Meanie is the wrestler guy,
Okay. All right. Now crystal clear. Huh.
who is probably the producer that gave the teenagers the beer.
Right. All right. Well, he's there. And Lee follows the fight winner, this lady fight winner, into this back area. He's like, hey, what's up? How you doing? She's like, hey, I really have a minimal role in this film, but I'm going to walk over here. And the Reno guy walks up and he's like, hey, you hustling my ladies? And Lee's like, no, I just came to broker a deal to fight. Here's a briefcase full of money. What? It's an entry fee of a briefcase filled with cash to fight in a basement surrounded by teenagers.
So I'm foggy here.
Uh-huh. It's
I
probably the polyurethane.
Doesn't he just... Yes. Well, I guess maybe they're into it because he shows up and he's like, all right, I'm here to fight. They're like, okay, we'll have to pay this dickhead. And he's like, I brought 20,000. They're like, this guy's stupider than we thought. Sure. Okay, buddy.
Yeah, you can fight.
We
Yeah,
pay
but
you to fight.
He walks out with the briefcase and the money.
He leaves with the money.
And then doesn't fight either.
Right.
And then when he does fight, he doesn't show up with the money. I don't understand.
Yeah, I think at that point he was just like, okay, I'm going to be a fighter instead of this high-powered betting businessman.
I don't know.
Don't know what
I don't know why
plot
he
is.
like. He's like, I'm just gonna change the plot of the movie.
Yeah, let's winging it.
It's like I had 20 grand to bet, but the only people in this warehouse were drunk teenagers.
And I just feel bad
For drunk teenagers?
because he doesn't want to bet on the losing. Never mind.
The fight organizer is like Reno.
Yes.
He's like, hey, you, toothless from earlier. Oh, wait, you're not toothless. You have braces. You owe me your entry fee or whatever. And she's like, yeah, well, why don't you take it out of my ass? And he's like, I'm gonna.
And then she's like, please. So we have to watch them have sex.
Here's my notes on this scene.
Oh.
The sex scene. They go home where they have throw up barf sex. They barf on each other, and I barf on Sam and Jackie. They barf on the dogs, and they barf until he kills her.
Yeah.
This is disgusting.
It doesn't help that the whole scene is lit by like 1 or 2 desk lamps that are tungsten, and everything looks yellow beyond that. So it's like watching 2 people that if you did everything perfectly would be moderately good looking on screen. Well, they've done none of
No,
those
I
things.
don't think so, Sam.
Let's just say they're average
I think
people.
You're being nice.
They're normal people. They're fine, right?
She's
Yeah,
awful.
could be. Let's
She's
say
awful, Sam.
You know, maybe she has better like when the braces come off,
can't
right?
Shoot around tube sock titties.
So you don't look at that part, but they did, and
They
got
look
some
like-
cottage cheese butt in there too. But they also it's lit in a way that it looks like 2 people with like late stage jaundice are just sort of wrestling.
Oh my god! And all the time I thought she's gonna give him a blowjob, and I'm like, that has to be the most unsafe thing for a man ever with that much metal in your mouth.
Let me put it this way. Woody Harrelson's landlord in Kingpin is only slightly hotter than this woman.
They lit her better, that's for sure. The photographer did a nicer job.
Yeah, so Brino's a vampire. He eats her, and that's fun. The next night, there's some shit that happens that I don't really care about.
Yeah.
The next night, the vampires have their fight club at the beach. For some reason, I guess it's a rotating fight club location. They just go wherever they can.
They had a stock shot of an ocean, a couple of them, because they green screen the one part of the beach fight in front of a ocean shot, but then the rest of it just happens in a sandy area.
Yeah,
As
right.
to assume that they didn't actually go to the ocean.
And tonight, Lee's going to fight. This is his first fight. And I just don't understand the rules of this boxing club.
Well, I'm thinking that the rules are you have to fight entertainingly enough, otherwise the promoters of the fight will beat you both up. Because that's what happens.
How do you fight entertaining wise? Like, do you do like flamenco style in the middle of it?
Maybe, because that's what he says.
Or do like that monkey fighting from Bloodsport again? You know, like, let's jazz this up a little bit.
Well, his opponent is dressed like some kind of super villain, like ninja guy. He's got
Except for
the
he
black
weighs
pants on,
400 pounds.
and he's got the red tie around
Yeah.
his waist. And
But then he's also stuck his face into a bucket of paint.
no,
What's a different guy? This is
different
just this
guy.
guy, like, it's just this guy that's like got a red Fu Manchu and he's got bald head and some.
he's got silk clothes on, and
So I guess he came prepared. He's
He's
got
like-
a costume on at least.
He's like a ginger ninja.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's entertaining.
That's sweet. You just say that. Just say ginger ninja.
Ginger ninja.
That just rolls right off of there.
The vampires, after beating up Lee and leaving him on the beach, like, yeah, nice try, buddy. They go into some shithole for hookers and blow. Like, I guess this is where they get. I don't understand the significance to the plot to this, other than another scene.
Otherwise, a DEA agent wouldn't be after him.
Okay, all right.
That's all I can figure because
Yeah.
now there's drugs.
Okay,
But it doesn't make sense because they don't get drugs. They like go in there, and then this jackass that's landed on thick, he does his hammy comedy routine while the booby lady goes in and 2 women take their shirts off and have uncomfortably awkward
Shirts?
non-sex. Yeah, they're all the way naked. Never mind.
There's a full-on vagina in this film.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're either one of them are comfortable.
Yeah, no. They are not. They are not making the sex. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
the older one is like, "Are we done yet?"
Yeah.
And the main gal's drunk.
Right.
But I will say that the owner of the establishment really,
Why did you say it like that?
because it just,
It's nice.
it's nice. Shut up.
This is not a
Yeah,
nice
you
place.
shut up over there, all right? You just shut
Yeah,
up.
she's Jewish now because of the
Okay.
polyurethane.
Okay, so yeah, don't distract me when I'm thinking.
Mm.
So anyway, he really lays it, like Sam was saying, lays it on thick, and I really felt like he nailed his line when he
Absolutely.
was like, "Hose and blow," and I was like, "Oh." And then,
He does better than everybody else.
yeah, and then the
This guy
hooker
sucks.
doesn't want to go with the female vampire. She's like, no, send Cindy, And he's like, come on, go. Practically pushes her ass off the couch and has to bribe her with a bag of drugs.
Yep.
To have sex with the vampire lady? What's the
Yeah.
problem with the vampire lady?
Well, she's gonna eat your face.
Well, he doesn't know that.
Now,
She doesn't know that.
I still don't know what. This just isn't how drug deals go.
No.
Okay, we showed up. Our girlfriends have sex with each other. Then we just hang out. Right. This is how drug deals work,
Wait for
isn't
them
it?
to get done. Yeah. Anyways, also there's now a third. There's a third factor in this film because now there's a cop lady whose name I don't know.
Well, she was in the first fight. She's a cowboy hat. She's been in since the fighting started. So I was saying Chun-Li and Ryu because that's basically all they are.
So she was undercover this whole time.
Like there's sort of two plots happening here,
Uh-huh.
or two borrow of plots happening here mixed into one mini plot, but half of it is pretty much Street Fighter 2.
Yeah. And she's going to take them down too. So she sneaks into the house. And the prostitute has now been killed by the vampire lady. Because
Sure.
I guess that's over. So she's going to eat her. Walks. And the
Landing strip. She did have it pretty cleaned up down there.
They had the exact same landing strip.
It's 2007. If you didn't have a landing strip and a tramp stamp, you couldn't work.
And the drug dealer's downstairs, and he's renegotiating. He's like, "Oh, let's pay me another $1,500." And they're like, "What? No, that's not how drug deals work." He's like, "Oh, now you're complaining about how drug deals work? Jesus Christ!" So then his face just kind of falls off, like
His cheek explodes on its own.
right? Which
Well,
is
spontaneous cheek combustion.
weird. And then the vampire guy kills all of his bodyguards.
Yeah.
By
And-
using that one lady as a shield
Right.
and then just shaking her shoulders so she looks like she's being shot a bunch.
It's so dumb.
Yeah. Then you get the director giving himself a Matrix-style action scene where people who were not in the room just start appearing to be shot.
Yeah, there's just some hippies there getting shot.
I think like 9 people just appear so that he can shoot them.
Right. They don't have guns or like they're not running in like, "Hey, what's the gun sounds?" They're just standing there in the kitchen getting shot.
They're just showing up to be shot like there's some turnstile out to like,
Yeah, right.
all right, you're allowed to go in.
It's
Hey,
the
what's
lazy Susan of vampire death.
Yeah. What's in here? Oh, no. Oh, no.
So they blow the place. They're like, "That was dumb. Drug deal didn't go down right." And Lee and the other cop are upstairs in the prostitute death room, and they're like, "Oh, I guess it's morning now because it's bright outside, even though the vampires just fucking left. Were you standing in here all night long? What the fuck?" Not knowing how day and light works is
Sure.
a recurring theme in this film.
Well, this one, they're supposed to be at night, but they just put a trash bag in front of the window,
Right.
which is fine if you don't shoot directly at the trash bag in front of the window.
Right. So they have this conversation in the morning because the sequence of events is the vampires come in at night. Now it's morning. And by the time they're done having their conversation, it cuts directly to them going and getting lunch
At night.
with another guy. No, when they're in the diner,
Sure.
it's light outside.
It is.
And they're eating lunch.
I know, but
And then they go outside
and it's night.
And it's nighttime.
and they get caught by the blonde-haired vampires like, hey, I have seen those guys before.
Yeah, hey, hooker lady, why don't you follow that other lady, and get her stuff? I don't know. Find out what's going on.
So, yeah, he's just like, he walks up to her and he says, you need to move this shit fast. And he gives her the drugs that they just stole. Why does she need to move it fast? You killed everybody that knows about it. She doesn't need to do anything with it.
Right. She could just sell it at the regular pace.
Or you could.
Oh, that's true.
Then he's like, wait, you want to make some money? Wasn't that what I was going to do? Hooking or selling drugs whatever I'm doing here. Okay, tail this police officer. And then what?
I don't think you know how prostituting and drug dealing works here, Reno.
Or tailing.
Right.
Okay, so let's just pretend that what happens next in the movie doesn't happen. And what really would happen if the hooker followed the police officer, and then they meet up the next day, and she tells them all about it. She walked home. She
stopped
went
at Starbucks. She got a large mocha grande.
Her car is green. And she has a cat. I went through her trash. Really average coffee grounds, bananas.
Here's something. She subscribes to the New York Post.
The Post.
Yeah, not the Times.
Not the Times. The Post is a rag.
I should have thought out this tail plan better.
Okay, wait. So then you followed her for how long? 6 hours. I'm just going to guess you didn't sell the drugs or do any hooking. Oh, no.
Of course
it was,
not.
It was tailing the police officer for you.
God damn it. So the cop instead gets the jump on her, which this also is weird at the same time because the cop's like, hey, I know you're working for Reno. Let's meet tomorrow night.
Yeah, she's like, you're working for Reno. Tell me what you know. I can't do that. And then starts telling her more than she actually knows.
Right.
Like, you know more than she knows. And you want to meet her tomorrow. Let's just imagine how this conversation goes. So, okay. I could tell you something now. No, tomorrow at 2.
Tomorrow. We're meeting tomorrow.
2.
You be here or else.
Else I'll arrest you for the drugs I just stepped on that are no longer admissible. So she comes back at 2. Okay. Tell me about Reno. I think you know more about him than I do.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. I do.
That's true.
Huh?
Did you follow him or anything? No, I just went home because you stepped on my drugs.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done for the night.
So what's your favorite color?
How do you feel about the Post? You like the article?
You like the Post?
No, I don't. Of course, nobody likes the Post.
The movie reviews can be fun.
All right, so that happened. Lee then goes on a montage where he shakes down a video store and a gas station and then goes into the break room of a motel and pores over files until he gets tired and frustrated from it.
I think it's supposed to be his office.
He has an office?
He doesn't have anything. He has a couch. He also... This is the only time we see him work.
Right.
And it doesn't work. He just shows some people some top secret files that they're not allowed to see.
Correct.
And then gets frustrated. And then goes to where we always see him before he has to go anywhere, to his bed. In his bed, he has 2 alarm clocks, but it's his cell phone that always wakes him up.
Meanwhile, the vampires and their other Fight Club promoter guy, his name is Ace. I guess he represents the current champ or something.
Which is the guy with the chain.
Right. They have a bit of a falling out.
One that would make a lot of sense. You were 13.
It doesn't make any sense.
You were 13 and you were making a movie for summer camp, and you just needed a bridge to the next karate fight scene. Well, here's your scene.
Beardo, Blue Meanie, walks out of the office and Ace goes, "Oh yeah," and shoots him in the back of the head. That is how that goes down.
Yep.
And then he shoots Reno like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Right. Which then they spit out the bullets because they're vampires.
Yeah.
But instead of just the bullet, they spit out the entire magazine.
It's the shell and the casing. It's an unfired round.
Because they don't know how guns work.
They don't know how guns work. Well, they don't know how. When faces explode from gunshots, nachos usually don't come out.
It would be fun.
Yeah, but,
Not your movie.
oh no.
So he beats them up. They kill the champ, and he blows out Ace's knees. And this all takes place in a copy room.
Yeah, it's like, not in the copy room. You know how much those Xerox machines cost?
It's kind of like somebody cleans offices at night.
Yes, it is.
Uh-huh.
And they were like, hey, I can let you guys in at night to
Right.
film this
Yes.
scene.
Yep.
I also accuse the sex scene with him and the jaundice sex scene of being the same house that was so dirty, just cleaned up a little bit.
And this video store, I think, are their local video store. They're just
One
go
of
in there. Do you guys want to
them-
shoot a little bit of a movie here?
One of them works there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Ace is laying on the ground and Beardo's like, all right, we're going to make you pay. Give me all your money. He hands him a $20 bill.
And then he's like, wait, this is mine. Because he recognizes every 20 he's ever had.
Right.
And then shoots him in the face.
Which is when his brain comes out. Not his brains came out. His brain comes out.
It's just a JPEG of a brain on top of a picture of spaghetti, stilled next to his head, like just off the corner. It just like slides out like it's an 8-bit game, like ding! It's a brain.
Boink.
Yeah.
I'm so really surprised that the paperclip didn't jump into
Yeah.
that scene. It was like,
Would you like to put the brain back in?
Yeah. You need sound effects from Mario Golf for that.
Oh, Jesus. So I guess Lee is now the champion of fighting because
Because the other guy got killed by vampires
for no
that
reason.
are running their own ring. I don't understand.
right. But then when when Reno jumps out the window, right, to kill the champion guy,
Sure.
it is daylight.
It is.
That
yes.
is true.
Yeah.
It's like the afternoon.
He tells the lady cop and her boss, I guess, that he's found these perps and that they're vampires. And they're like, no, there's no such thing as vampires. He's like, oh, yeah. And they're like, oh, good call.
You
So
showed him like a picture of vampires from like the 16th century. And they're
Right.
like, oh, goddamn, that's evidence.
Okay, no.
Exhibit A.
That thing looked like somebody's 13-year-old son who was at camp made that as a project.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they would have done a better job.
Yeah, maybe. So then we have a lock and load montage for vampires because now they're convinced. Okay, let's get the steaks and the garlic and the carved up bullets. I don't know. Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get locked and loaded for vampire action.
And the cop lady, she goes back to the prostitute that she was supposed to beat up and tells her to find where Reno's at during the day. So she goes in and finds his coffin. And she's like, fuck that. I'm not messing with this coffin shit. I'm out of here, lady. She's like, oh, yeah. And we cut away, but we'll come back to that. There's some suspense there, some drama.
Oh, yeah. This is where I started falling asleep.
Yeah.
It was
I
hard
was-
to stay awake.
I was still awake at this point.
So they know where Reno is sleeping, but like Lee calls his DEA boss back, and the DEA boss is like, don't do anything. Because if he did something now, we wouldn't have a climax to this movie because it'd be pretty easy to kill
I guess.
Reno while he's in his coffin. Anyways, the lady cop finds the lady vamp. They fight poorly. But I guess she has crushed garlic on her hands because at some point she grabs onto the vampire's arms and they start disintegrating.
Yeah.
So where her shield was in the previous scene,
Uh-huh.
right? She tucks it in.
Her badge.
Yeah. She goes to go pull that out, and it's got a white bag of powder in there, and that's all the garlic that she has dried out and crushed.
Okay, so it's just garlic powder.
Yeah, which she could have bought at the store for way cheaper than making it herself. And she gets it on her hands, and then she starts grabbing at her.
Why
You
doesn't
just
she
want
like?
fresh garlic. That stuff's pungent.
Yeah,
You can like wash your hands 10 times and it still smells like garlic.
yeah.
Powder's not as strong.
Or just keep the bottle like on your belt, like your utility belt, and just screw off the
Or-
lid and dump it in her face.
You do what they would have done on page 6 of The Hustler. You've just ingested a lot of garlic. And so when naturally the two women start peeing on each other,
Uh-huh.
because that's what happens in sex,
Right.
the one is actually peeing garlic and it burns her alive.
Yeah, it's like napalm, but it's pee-pee.
PP.
So she's dead, the lady vampire. And Beardo Vamp decides that Lee's going to now fight Reno to the death. Like, all right, shut this shit down. It's time for Lee to die. And so Reno's about, like, they go in and fight in this cage match, and Reno's about to kill Lee, but then the lady cop shoots him, or shoots the weapon out of his hand or something, I don't know, it doesn't matter, and runs out upstairs, where it's daytime.
Yes.
And she says, "Ha, you were prepared for it to be daytime. We played a little practical joke on you."
Yes, this is the real twist here. Get ready for this.
The prostitute changed his watch,
Yep.
set it backwards.
Now let's just think, because it was a dial watch.
Uh-huh.
She set it to the exact time that it was.
Because she was there during the
It's a
daytime.
12-hour scale. He just doesn't even know how to use a watch.
Or, like, the other vampires go, where are you going, dude? You realize it's 4 p.m.
Yes, she changed his watch, thereby screwing it up for, like, everyone is, like,
It's
apparently controlled by his watch.
Yeah, it's in Vampires, I believe. This is in Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's like the butterfly effect. When one doesn't know how to tell time, they all like it's just a ripple through the waves of vampire bullshit. So they fight poorly, and until she pushes Reno outside and he explodes in flames.
He goes in front of the window like 4 times
Yeah,
without
right.
any damage. Then when he touches the window, his arm gets burned. Eventually, he gets kicked outside and he burns alive, other than his beautiful blonde hair.
Downstairs, Police Lee is fighting Beardo,
The Blue Meanie.
which exposes the plot. His name isn't Lee Southward. It's Stephen Lee. He was little Billy in the cupboard, Jackie.
He was Police Lee. Wait.
Well, I already knew
Yeah,
that.
he was Police Lee, technically. Right, but you were like, what happened to Billy in the cupboard? He goes on to be the cop.
No, I said, who the hell was Steven?
His name is Stephen Lee.
Yeah.
Lee Southward wasn't his real name. It's a big, I don't know why he changed his name. I guess to
But
like
then doesn't it
be
say
secret to the
Southward?
vampires?
On the grave at the end, it's the Southward family.
Maybe he's Stephen Lee Southward.
I just don't know.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter.
But I like how he cut his sisters out of that photo.
Yeah, and he's not dead. Why is he on there?
That's a good point. Anyways, at this fight scene, they now both have katanas. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I had fallen asleep at this point.
This fight scene goes pretty quick. It doesn't last very long. He stabs Beardo in the chest, who then explodes into fire because metal. I don't know.
Yeah.
So then he visits his family grave. So does the lady cop. She's like, "Hey, it's cool." He's like, "I'm sad," and she's like, "Do me." And
Then it goes America.
American flag.
Yeah, that's what happened. He's like, oh, sad. And she's like, babes, you want him? He's like, yep. And then they walk off, but you can barely see it because there's an American flag in the way.
Right. That's your movie, guys.
I was awake for that cemetery scene.
Yeah,
you probably missed about 5 minutes, Jackie. Anybody? Questions?
I think we might have flushed them all out. I mean,
I got one.
Okay, go for it.
What's the vampire's end game? Like this crime syndicate of vampires.
I think they're just bored.
Yeah?
That's all I could figure.
Because we know that they've been alive for at least 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you're alive for 30 plus years, you don't start prostitution rings and
It just doesn't seem like it's going to work out for them.
no,
You guys ever heard of the Count of Saint Germain?
no.
Okay, so this guy, it's an urban legend. Maybe, I don't know. But this guy, the Count of Saint Germain, he was a real guy, but he was possibly a con man back in like Victorian times.
Sure.
Nobody knew where he came from. He just showed up in Germany one day and started wooing the aristocracy.
This is the guy that sold the Eiffel Tower?
No, different guy.
Okay.
But he knew how to do too much. He was like a master violinist and knew how to speak like 16 languages and very adept at playing the piano, knew how to do like mill work. And like he was like way too learned. Like you couldn't learn that much in that span of time. So the prevailing theory is that he was a vampire and he's still alive, the Count of Saint Germain. You know who he is?
Who?
Kevin Pollak.
Oh.
Kevin Pollak has declared
Himself as the count. Well, I mean, he's into some silly jokes, so
and
why not?
He's tired of acting. He's done that now, and he's going to move on to something else.
Okay.
Kevin Pollak.
Kevin Pollak.
Yeah. But these guys are not them. They have not spent their time learning all these trade skills.
No.
They've just gone right to gutter trash.
They didn't do good at any of their endeavors.
Right? We're immortal. Let's be shitholes.
The one chick,
Kevin Pollak is the worst looking vampire ever.
He's not a vampire, Jackie. He's just immortal.
he's a comedian who's been telling some outlandishly bad jokes lately.
It's just not a good use of their time if you're going to be a vampire. Like we're going to be drug czars? No, you guys are barely dealing drugs at all.
They're not doing anything worthwhile.
No.
They suck.
These are dumb vampires.
They're really stupid. You would hope that they were like cousins or something, because any one of them should have told the other ones to fuck off by now.
Sam, let me ask you this. Are glitter vampires cooler than these vampires?
Cooler.
Like on the respect scale, like okay, it's not my thing to be moopy and sad and in love all the time and like gazing into the clouds and being like, oh, that one looks like a broken heart. But
I would rather
is
hang
that
out.
a better use of being a vampire than these guys?
Well, I'll answer it differently. I'd rather hang out with these guys because at least they'll kill me. If I had to hang out with the fucking Twilight vampires, I would have to kill myself.
Well, who's a better vampire? Who's accomplishing more in the idiom of vampirism?
Neither.
Okay.
Neither one of them. We have one side gets shiny during the rain and decides to play baseball. The other side at least kills people.
What about the underworld vampire clan?
Oh, they're actually good vampires. Dude, they have built an empire on vampirism. They've got like their own system of government, like their own social rules.
I bet they
live in castles, Sam. Those are actual productive vampires.
And they've got powders.
Powders?
They have to because everybody wears leather.
Oh, yeah.
Gold bond everywhere.
Their attire is not what I would
just
like.
Just roll yourself on a mattress covered in gold bond.
We're
before you
doing
get dressed.
really good. We have castles. We're like maybe like a secret society that empowers the entire world, like, you know, a shadow government or something. I don't know. Maybe. We're doing really good. Could we just cut it with the leather? Like, seriously, could we just try pajamas one time?
Just
Okay,
imagine.
so here's another question for you.
Sure.
If you had to choose, because let's say you're a fresh vampire, hot off the press.
Hot, so I'm a vampire now, not just
Yeah.
having to hang out with these dickheads.
Right.
Yeah, you're not just hanging out. Because
Sure.
eventually everybody's gonna eat you. Maybe
If
not the
you're a
colors.
vampire,
No. Anyway, so you're a vampire, you're hot off the press, you're a new vampire,
okay,
and you've got to go find a new vampire home.
sure,
So you can either go to the underworld people, you can go to Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Who was just him.
Yeah, just him and some
pretty sweet
floozies.
castle,
Yeah.
You can go to the Twilight movie
sure.
universe, or you can go to these people.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you choose to
There's
spend
none
eternity
of the other
with?
vampire movies.
You
well-
could do John Carpenter's Vampires. I'm definitely not choosing that.
Yeah, I'm definitely not choosing that one.
The RV with Paxton sucks.
Yeah, it sucks pretty bad.
Lost Boys are kind of assholes too.
I would lump Blade and Underworld in the same clan. They're with Udo Kier's group and Stephen Dorff.
Udo
They're all
Kier's
kind
in
of the
both
same.
of them at one point, isn't
Yeah,
he?
that's true. They're just kind of the same.
I'll go with Udo Kier.
Okay, the Blade.
I'm not
team,
really like. I'm
Team
not
Blade.
really going to be like, give me the leather. The castles are neat, but I like to hang out with Udo Kier, so I would go that way.
Yeah, I'll take that too. Blade vampire. I'm a Blade
Sure.
vampire. Jackie.
Well, I'd go Twilight vampires.
Well, it's not very menacing, and I guess you get to ride on a rainbow of love.
There's also not Blade.
And they're fucking filthy ass rich.
That's
And
true.
They have their own
she's got a
island.
point, man.
They're
they-
totally free of any of the vampirism shit that you guys just sold out to.
Right.
Uh-huh.
They don't wear
Like,
leather.
There's no rules.
They throw each other as weapons.
That's
Yeah.
one thing, but that's only if you're married.
You can't do it like human javelin if you're not married.
You probably could, but it's not. It's voluntary at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Also, there's not fucking Blade.
yeah, that's true. Blade is a problem.
Yeah. And if I ever wanted to go off and start my own clan, there's no rule against that. I'd have a clan of complete little assholes that I run around with, and our eyes would all be green.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Twilight vampirism is the ultimate vampirism. Interesting. Good work, Jackie. Final recommendations, guys.
No.
Nope.
No.
Yeah. Sorry, Jack. This isn't for us.
This not. You know, one of the things is that I hate doing zero budget movies because ultimately, like, we can make fun of these guys up and down. They made a film about stuff that we don't care about. They like shit that we don't like. That's whatever. These guys worked their ass off and made a fucking movie with almost no money. So it's hard to be like, at a certain level, you have to say, good job, guys. I didn't like it, but good fucking job.
Yeah, accomplishing any piece of art is an accomplishment, sure, but it's still our job to point out what is shit and what isn't.
What isn't?
Neil Breen makes films on $0, and we can't get enough of that guy. And it is very much worthy of being said, this is not a good movie.
Not
it doesn't
good.
matter whether you complete it or not. Is just, there's moments where I could have enjoyed this film. Some of the fight scenes are just so awful, which shocks me because these people claim to be really heavy professional martial artists or fighters or trained physical athletes. And the fight scenes are atrociously bad.
That goes into the real biggest problem that this thing has, and that all of these sort of super amateur films' biggest problem is the photography. Most of the stuff that when we see like the Bourne Identity, we think it's all great. It's the angles they're using.
Sure, I understand that. But when you have a lady stand there and repeat the same kick over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, they're not doing anything, Sam.
Yeah, exactly. And the photography is a still camera shooting them for too long at an angle where you can see they're not really kicking each other.
This guy's not a filmmaker. I'm sorry.
That's the thing.
But my primary problem with this film, and it is not exclusive to budget films, which is why I do not like this film, and I'm allowed to say it, is the over fucking editing and the post-production processes that are run on the film are garbage. They're the same shit that was in Driven, and I fucking hate it, and filmmakers need to stop it.
Yeah.
Quit pushing the preset button in goddamn Premiere. Says the guy who pushes the preset button in Audition all the time.
All the time.
So that's my beef with it. It's just not.
I
didn't enjoy it at all.
I hate the over editing, but at the same time, I look at 2007 and go, "Well, everybody else was doing it then too."
Everybody else.
You
was
do
doing
this shit now, I will fucking scold you.
Yeah, I'll find
you. Do it in 2007. I'll let you have a hall pass. Everybody was fucking doing it. You still do this shit? Fuck you.
Okay, so that's 3 do nots from us. It is streaming on Amazon Prime. If
His
you
other ones
think
are
that
too.
We're assholes.
I watched the about 5 minutes of this year's swamp zombie movie that he made just to see if he'd gotten any better. Because that's one of the things that was like, you can make a shit movie as long as you get sort of better. Markedly, the writing was worse, the audio was worse, but he did get the exposure right more often with the camera, so there's some improvement there.
All right, we got to move on, guys. We got some listener feedback. We've actually got a lot. Starting out with a voicemail that is directed to you, Jackie.
Okay, just remember, Jackie, you asked for this. How the fuck could you think The Snowman is a good movie?
Because Michael Fassbender is
watching
good looking.
And I thought, fuck, this movie is too high for it to be good.
Too high?
Be honest. How many of you guys thought that when the fade out from the kid to Michael Fassbender's character happened, you thought the kid was Michael Fassbender?
Me.
And then, remember the scene where Michael Fassbender finds out who the villain is? The, oh my god moment. Fuck this movie. And then, when the villain dies, fuck this movie. Jackie, I love you, but I don't understand how you could possibly, in any reality, think that The Snowman was a good movie. It's not. That aside, congratulations on another SMADFest. I'm anxious to see the brown carpet rolled out and to see all the celebrities come out to receive their non-awards. Thank you, and have a good day, and get to the chopper.
Oh my god, that guy was awesome. Except that he's totally wrong about The Snowman.
Yeah, the SMADFest were our last episode. And Jackie nominated The Snowman for Best Bad Movie. And it's still a head scratcher.
Yep.
And the fans agree, Jackie.
I just really liked Michael Fassbender, I guess. And
Well, fine.
and I liked, I'm not going to lie, the scene that really sold me that movie was when he was passed out in front of a bar.
Yeah. You like drunk people.
But
I just,
it wasn't near as good as when Russell Crowe naked planked.
Absolutely.
That's some
you're
good
right
drunk
about
laying
that.
down. The whole ass was hanging out.
Yeah, I don't think we talked enough about the Snowman because it's just one of those like so bafflingly bad story, or just like so much of it was cut out that it just doesn't make any sense. And then all this other material is tacked on to as red herrings to the plot that when the plot gets revealed, you're like, what about all that other shit?
Wasn't Val Kilmer in this movie?
Right.
I thought that it was fucking badass. I don't know what you guys, it made perfect sense to me.
Okay.
The whole thing made perfect sense to me. You guys are just nuts.
All right.
Well, we have to move on. Speaking of our good listener, Jack B., he's written us an email that ties into some recent past. He says, "Hey, Sticker Bandits, I just finished your last action hero episode today, and I pretty much agree with everything you said. One thing, though, that I wish had been joked about more was the soundtrack. When Danny first goes into the movie, the rock soundtrack is clearly shown to be coming through Jack Slater's mini-disc player, and Danny acknowledges it. I thought it would have been a lot of fun if the movie from then on used a sparse soundtrack and the music came from a source in the film itself, escalating into the more bizarre scenarios as the movie went on. It's a great gag, and I'm sad they didn't do more with it." I think that's an excellent idea.
It's right around the same time the Dogma 99 movement was happening as well.
Yeah. He also goes on, "A few weeks ago, you asked if there has ever been a good acting performance from a basketball player in a movie, following up to Sam's NBA stars in film. I'd like to pose a similar question for child actors. Has there ever been a good acting performance from a child actor in a movie? Not good for a child actor, but a genuinely good performance by any standard. The only ones I can think of are some of the lead kids in The Sandlot. Jack." I've got two.
Exorcist?
I would no.
She does a good job.
She does a good job. Yeah, I don't. That's not what I was really going for. Some of that's, yeah. No, you're right. That's a good one. I was thinking Tatum O'Neal in Paper Moon.
Paper Moon's fantastic.
And also Jodie Foster in
Taxi Driver?
Taxi Driver.
She's close. She's like 19, though, wasn't she?
Oh, I thought she was like 12.
Oh, I don't know. She just looks 12.
Yeah, right. Got another thing on The Last Action Hero that we screwed up.
Sure.
I think the little boy who did Love Actually,
Oh, God, Jackie,
Good
you in that
Lord.
fucking movie.
It was awful.
the one that his mom was dead,
No,
the drummer
he
kid.
won a Razzie for worst actor.
Yeah.
I thought he was a pretty good
No,
actor.
that movie is, there's nothing redeeming in it at all, Jackie. It stinks. You got anybody else that's not in Love Actually or Vampire Diaries?
How about Jar Jar Binks? If he was a kid.
No, he sucks bunhole.
Oh?
He's a turd sandwich.
In The Last Action Hero, this is from Twitter fan at RedCapJack. In Last Action Hero, the villain's eye is explosive. So when we couldn't figure out why Charles Dance exploded when he gets shot,
He gets shot in the eye.
it's because his eye explodes.
I thought Jackie said that.
No, we never figured that out.
Oh, how about
Yeah.
that?
The other part that he explains is also, and it's an interpretation, also, I think the rules are that the characters retain their core essence. So vampires would still be vampires. Death would still be death. Whereas Slater doesn't have powers. It's the world that he's in has powers. So when he makes the transition to our Earth, he doesn't have any superpowers. It's his world that does.
Ha.
So that's an interesting theory.
Interesting.
That I can't...
I won't dispute it, but
say
at the
is
same time, I don't think
incredible.
death should kill the hot dog guy.
Oh, I thought he should have. I liked that scene.
All right.
if you use Jack's explanation, it works perfectly.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Last we got an email from Michael M. Hey guys, I need to thank Justin for inadvertently selecting my pick for the show I made last year, Last Action Hero. What a damn fun movie that still holds up after a quarter century, in my opinion. So many hidden Easter eggs, and giving the great Charles Dance and Tom Noonan major roles is just one of the many perks of this truly good bad movie. I agree that the second half of the movie, where it takes place in LA, was plotting. I think Sam's idea of bringing in a few more baddies to run amok would have spiced things up a bit. Unfortunately, I think for that to work, this would have had to have been made by a different studio. Columbia TriStar just didn't have much in that department aside from perhaps the Candyman. Uh-oh. Is he bees?
Is he bees? I would have liked that.
Yeah, I would have too. If this was a Paramount or Warner Brothers, perhaps Ian McKellen wouldn't have been the biggest boogeyman they could unleash on the city. Still a fun movie that every fan of the podcast should watch if they haven't yet. As for the Smab Fuzz, I am shocked that The Dark Tower was nominated for Best Bad Movie. That was Martini Shark who did that.
I didn't care about that movie. So you can be mad at me too because it was just meh.
Yeah, I didn't. There were some bad actors there were some actors that I nominated from that movie, but not the movie itself.
Right. Speaking of bad actors, sure, Matthew McConaughey is so bad at his Will Arnett in a serious role impersonation that it's funny. But as a huge fan of the Dark Tower series, this was the most painful theater experience I've had in years. There seemed like 100 liberties taken with the plot for every single faithful element. And that's what you get when you condense 7 books into one director's Hollywood debut. You would have to A Clockwork Orange me to get me to view that torture porn again. Explain yourselves, Stinker Madness.
Oh, so you wanted more bad?
Why it got nominated?
Because I only read Gunslinger.
Yeah. Here's
And
why
I read the version that was written before it was amended to have a series behind it, which was so it stands alone. So there's like a snippet of that in the movie, but not a whole lot. And it was just I couldn't care about it.
Well, I think why it got nominated for Best Bad and why I still don't really have a problem with it being nominated for Best Bad is because it's truly not that bad. It's not good. It's not interesting. It's not entertaining. It's not faithful, apparently. But when we had the SMAPA nominees, it was an extremely contentious year in every other category besides Best Bad. And we have to make 5 nominees each. And I struggled to just get past Geostorm and the Great Wall.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is it's
Triple X.
forgettable.
And Triple X, yeah. It's completely
the Dark
forgettable.
Tower is forgettable. It's
Absolutely.
not. I'm with you 100%. It's not worth your time to watch it again. I didn't care for it at all.
Yeah, it barely made a nomination, so it was basically just filler for us to get the nominations done. So there's your answer. We got some streaming do's and don'ts. In a film study, I guess we want to call this, or just the gambit of the first 4 of these films is what we're going to do. Sam, you have seen all these.
A retrospective.
Yeah, a retrospective. There you go. On HBO Now, Tremors 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I cannot I can't sing the praises of the first Tremors enough. It's a very low budget movie that did well at the theater, that is just a goddamn good time.
Jackie,
is it stupid? Yes.
Jackie,
but it's fun.
Jackie, what's your thoughts on Tremors 1?
I've always liked that movie.
Yeah.
She will have blonde hair, blue eyes.
Huge tits.
Yep.
And a great ass, whatever. My thing about Tremors 1, I don't think it's a bad movie. I actually think it is an exceptionally good movie.
I believe that Tremors is one of those, in the creature feature, it's a genre defining film.
I think it is absolutely too. And the one thing that I really respect out of Tremors 1 is there's all these gags going on, and the chemistry between Fred Ward and Kevin Bacon is great, and the townsfolk, and you like these characters.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in these types of movies, there is one element that that filmmakers fail on constantly, is the characters planning. Like, how do we get out of this scenario and then into another scenario that is even more exciting without making the characters seem stupid?
Yeah.
And you watch this thing, Tremors, like, okay, we're over here, we got to get over here, or we got to try this and we got to try that. They're always, it's a constant struggle between the humans and the graboids, because they're nobody. This should be the idiot plot, and at no point is a single character in this film an idiot, except for the one who is intended to be, which is the snotty bratty nose kid, Melvin or whatever his name.
Sure.
It looks like Butthead from the Wonder Years. You're not supposed to like that character, so he's the only one that's allowed to be an idiot. I just was like, God damn, this is really good writing.
Yeah, they don't. It's not like the movie is trying to survive itself to get to more action sequences. The characters are surviving these action sequences and getting into another level of peril, but it wasn't because they're dumb. They actually accomplished something, but this terror is unknown and it's real,
Right.
and it's ever present. So they're constantly having to work their way out of these situations.
And
it's great.
It never breaks its own rules. And one particular scene that I can also think of is there's some campers, just some cannon fodder for the graboids, basically, that are out in the wilderness, and the husband gets eaten, and the wife runs back to the car, and she's screaming, and she's in the car, but she's quiet, she's calmed down, so the graboids technically can't hear her until she accidentally kicks over a stereo that at this point in time, we don't even know that the graboids are attracted by sound, and gets eaten. You're thinking, well, wait a minute. Well, she's in the car. She should be safe. They wouldn't even know that she's in there, except for that one little element that the film tossed in to cover itself later. They could have totally forgot to even cover that and just have that woman get eaten. But they covered it. And I can't praise that film enough either. It's a good movie.
Sure. You do have to really hold the suspension of disbelief up for the one element that
Which is?
they could move through the earth that quickly.
I don't know. It looks fine to me.
Well, it looks fine. It works fine, but it just physics aren't behind it so much.
Well, man, who's to say? Maybe there are graboids and we just don't know about them yet, Sam.
They're too fast.
Schmeving around, yeah.
So goddamn fast. I
Like
didn't even
that
realize they killed you 6 times before you ate that sandwich.
They're like that damn Sasquatch. All right, let's move on to Tremors 2 through 4, because essentially at this point they're all kind of stinkers.
So 2, they get legs. 3, they fly.
Uh-huh. And 4, we go back in time
Yes.
to 1877.
Something like that.
Michael Gross is in all of them.
And, really, he was, for me, one of the most entertaining and dynamic characters.
Yep.
So it was really good to see him in all of them.
Michael Gross is great.
They never reach the chemistry level that Fred Ward and Kevin Bacon had, which is one of the things that makes Tremors a good movie, is that you don't realize that they also kind of packaged a buddy film in on you, and it's better buddy picture than most buddy pictures.
Right. Yeah. 2. Well, let me put it this way: 2 and 3 are both seem very similar to a sci-fi original movie, kind of like in the same vein as Big Ass Spider.
Sure.
Same type of comedy, but the effects aren't that good and the shooting's not that great.
The matte work in 3 is especially bad. They actually look like they're kind of blue versus the background they're against.
Right. But I thought for especially in 2, the CGI for that time period, I think 2 was 1995, was damn, that looks all right. For 1995
Sure.
CGI. Don't get me wrong, it's not good, but that's kind of impressive for a budget movie. But I enjoyed all 4 of them. I thought every single one of them was definitely a do, with 4 probably being my least favorite.
4 is my least favorite. I think I actually laugh unintentionally the most at 3 because when they're flying, it's silly.
Yeah, it is. They're called ass blasters.
Oh, yeah.
To take off in flight, they have to fart, and it's a fireball. It launches them into the sky. It's ass blasters, huh? Nice. Jackie?
I really liked 4.
Okay.
I liked the big gun that he brings back, and how, his character is not
Michael Gross's character. Yeah.
Michael Gross's character is not this, hardcore gun guy.
Which, if you haven't seen Tremors in a while, he's the one that loves guns.
Yeah, he's the
survivalist.
What are they calling it? The prepper?
Yeah, survivalist, prepper, paramilitary guy.
And I thought it was funny that they had the Reba McEntire lookalike in 4.
Right.
That, I think that if they could have gotten Reba McEntire back for that one, that was supposed to be her.
What the hell is she doing?
She had that sitcom.
Oh, and she's
Reba.
the KFC. She's the colonel now, too.
What?
Yeah, she's the first female colonel, Reba McEntire. You didn't hear about that?
Huh.
Yeah,
No.
colonel.
She also has a clothing line, too.
Oh.
I think she could show up for my Tremors 4. Come on, a cameo, something.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't. Maybe it wasn't her. Maybe it was them.
Maybe. So Sam, what's our status on Tremors? What are we looking at here? Because we've got a couple still out there.
What do you mean? What's our status on Tremors?
Well, are you thinking about pulling the trigger?
No, I'm not going
on,
to pull the trigger on 5 because I thought it was a sci-fi original.
Oh, okay.
I just want to watch it.
Mhm.
I'm just glad you guys have gotten through 4 because I've been waiting for you guys. I wanted to watch 5 with you. So that's where we're at. If
All right.
5's amazing, I guess we'll do an episode. But I think that 5 and 6 are basically going to be. I'm hoping they hold up to the rest of the series because I think they are. They've moved, and I don't think it's Asylum, but they've moved to those sort of studios.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they can hold the torch. That's all I'm hoping for.
Is 6 the remake?
I don't know anything
Yeah.
about 6. I just know that 5 has Gross in it, so Michael Gross is back for that one.
To me, the Tremors series is kind of like you were saying during the SMAVs about Resident Evil. Like, they're still doing those?
Yeah.
Huh. I wouldn't have thought that was that popular of a franchise.
Yeah.
Because I had only seen the first one until Jackie and I binge watched all of them. And I'm fine with it. I like them.
Yeah.
It's just kind of an odd choice to have 6 in the series.
Yeah.
Next up, Sam, it's your pick. We will be returning back to our normal schedule. You got something lined up for us?
It's probably not going to be coming at you. Really read that we need. I've read that I've been bamboozled by that film that I have to go get the Blu-ray so that we can watch it in 3D.
Okay. All right. So that'll be interesting. So you don't have a pick for next week?
Not yet.
Okay.
I was thinking I've got a couple of ideas on mini runs, and I might just do a one-off. I haven't decided yet.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll edit all that out because you're garbage as far as planning and wasting time for the fans to even hear you talk.
Sure.
Wow, what an asshole thing to say.
If you keep talking to me like that, I'm gonna pick fucking episode 1.
Wait, no, we just did that good child actor thing, so that doesn't count, Sam. We all know Jake Lloyd is the best
Jake
child
Lloyd
actor.
is the best child actor. It's working.
All right, get to the chopper.
Visit us at www.stinkermadness.com. Follow Stinker Madness on Twitter at Stinker Madness. Please rate and review us on iTunes and Stitcher. Thank you for listening, and get to the chopper.